Hello guys, so today we're doing question 1143 of LeetCode, the longest common subsequence. This is a medium question. Question is, given two strings text1 and text2, return the length of their longest common subsequence. If there is no common subsequence, then return 0. A subsequence of a string is a new string generated from the original string with some characters deleted without changing the relative order of the remaining character. For example, ACE is a subsequence of A, B, C, D, E. A common subsequence of two strings is a subsequence that is common to both strings. So example 1, input text 1 is ABCDE, text 2 is equal to ACE. The output is 3 because the longest common subsequence is ACE and its length is 3 because A, C and E are all in order within ABCDE. Example 2, text 1 is ABC, text 2 is ABC, so output is 3, the longest common subsequence is ABC and its length is 3. And as you can see here, text 1, ABC, text 2, DEF, output 0, there is no common subsequence. So the way we're going to do this is by using dynamic programming. We're going to split it into different sections to get the final result. So I'll show you how to do this on the whiteboard. So we're going to create an array, which is of length text, sorry, not an array, a grid of arrays. So an array of arrays, which is the first array of length text 1 plus 1 and text 2 plus 1 is the length of each array. So as you can see here, this will be the format of it. Array, 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 array. And we're going to create and set each value to a 0 for now. What we will do is we will check if the values match and we increment it. If they don't, we take the maximum between the value beside and the value above. If they do match, we take the maximum from the value top left and add 1 to that. The reason being is that if they're in order like this, if they match, we know that they are in order. But if, let's say this one matches and then this one matches here, that's not in the same order. So the longest common subsequence cannot be incremented from the one surrounding it. So let me show you an example here. So we're going to loop through it for each one. So we check A. Is A the same as A? Yes. So we set that as this value plus 1, which is 0, plus 1, 1. Then we go to here, the next value of J. In fact, let me show you I and J so we can understand. So we have I here, which currently equals 0, and J. So we're going to check the first value here. We're going to set it to 2. Change that J, that's a very bad J. So J set to 2. Now here we take the maximum between the top and the left because A and B do not match, and we set it to 1 as the left side is the max. Again, A and C do not match, or we have to increment J again. So A and C do not match, and we set it to, so J is 3, and now we set that to the max, which is 1. We increment J again, J is 4. And D and A do not match, so we set to the max between above and left, which is 1. Now J is 5. We set to the max between E and A as they don't match. Sorry, between top and left, which is they don't match, so that is 1 again. Now we finish looping through the array, so we increment I. I is now 1, and J is now 0. So we check, is A and B matching? No, so we check. We set at the top as a match between top and left, which is 1. Now J is now 1, and we set check, do B and B match? Yes. So we set it as the max. So we set it as the top left value. So here plus 1, which will be 2. We increment J again. J is now 2. We check if the top and left, so are C and B matching? No. So we set as a max between top and left, which is 2. We increment J again. J is now 3. Do D and B match? No. So we set as the max between top and left, which is 2. We increment J one more time. Sorry, I forgot to increment one time. This will be the 5th one. So now, sorry, not 5th, 4th. I incremented 1 extra time previous, so this is 4. We check here, does the value of E and B match? No, so we set the value as the max between top left and top, which is 2. Now we finish looping through, so we increment I value. I is now 2. So we're at C. Do C and A match, and J 0. So do C and A match? No. So we set as the max between top and left, which is 1. Now we increment J. J is now 1. Do C, B and C match? No. So we set the max as top and left, which is 2. We increment J again. J is now 2. Do C and C match? Yes. So we set as the max between the top left, which is 2, not the max, so 2, top left plus 1, which is 3. Then we increment J again. Now J is 3. Sorry. Yeah, 3. Now do C and D match? No. So we set as the max between top and the left, which is 3. Yeah, clearer. We increment J again. J is now 4. Do E and C match? No. So we set as the max between the top and the left, which is still 3. And then we return the last value here, because this will show us our longest subsequence. So let me show you how it's done in code. Okay, so the first thing we do is we create a grid. So create a grid, which is equal to an array from array of length word 1, sorry, text 1 dot length plus 1. So we can set the first row to 0. Let me spell that correctly. And for each array, we set another, for each value in the array, we set another array, which is of text 2 dot length plus 1, which we fill each value with 0. Now we have to loop through each value, so we loop through the columns with I, as long as I is smaller than grid dot length minus 1, because we added 1 here. So I plus plus. We'll do the same for J, which loop through the rows. So let J is equal to 0, as long as J is smaller than grid I, to loop through the rows, grid I dot length minus 1, then J plus plus. Then we check. So if the first word letter, so if text 1 I is equal to text 2 J, we know the letters are match. So then we set the grid I plus 1 value and J plus 1 value equal to the grid I and J plus 1. So this gets the value from the top left of the current position and adds 1 to it. Next, we check if it's not a matching character, then we set as the max between the top and the left value. So we set grid I plus 1 and J plus 1 as the max between grid I and J plus 1 and grid I plus 1 and J. So this gets the one from the left value and this gets the one from the top value, and we get the max. Now once we've done that, then we return the last value of each array, and as we know, we set the length of text of length plus 1 and the columns, so the height of text 2 length plus 1. So the columns are text 1 length plus 1 and the row text 2 length plus 1. So we just get grid of text 1, which is a column, so text 1 dot length, and the rows are text 2 dot length, which gets the last value in the array, sorry, in the grid. Let's see if that passes. That does. Let's submit. Perfect. As you can see, this was one of the fastest methods. So this is time complexity M of n, because we have two different lengths for text 1 and text 2, and we're looping through M first or n and M second, vice versa. And space complexity is also OM of n because we have an array of arrays, an array of m, which is text 1, and each array has an array of n, which is text 2. Thanks for watching.